Hey guys, welcome back to Coral Tree Homestead. My name is Beck, and this time round on Coral Tree Homestead I'm going to be showing you our garden updates and what's going on. We are 2 weeks away from spring and it's starting to warm up and feel like that spring weather. Sitting in front of our newly renovated feed shed, we're converting into a glass house or a potting shed if you like. And so we've just found these free recycled windows, and I have a few more that we are able to do on the other walls. This feed shed stores horse feed for my parents' horses, and it's right next to our house. So there's our house over there. You just walk a little ways over here. How's that sky? It's such a beautiful day today. So pretty. Okay, looking at a glass house, it's probably more like just a few glass windows in a shed, but we'll get there. We want to put some clear colour bond on the roof to get some more sunlight in here, and I think probably we'll just use it spring and autumn to get plants going. But festoon lights on the roof so I can be out here in the night time, and the plants are just really enjoying it. Previously I had all my plants inside, in our sort of side room and in the laundry, and with little kids they like to play in the dirt, and it just sort of takes over the house, so it's really nice to have this now. And like I said, I've got some more windows to put in these walls here, but eventually I hope to have this whole structure as windows with the white trim, and then have clear colour bond on the roof. It means that it's going to be a lot cheaper because 500 seeds is $1.20, whereas 6 plants is $4, so it's a lot cheaper to start your seedlings early from seeds, and you don't have to buy them started from the store then, and they're exactly the same. I started most of my plants 6 weeks early. A few of them I started 8 weeks early, so getting a really good head start. I've got a new garden space to show you guys, so let's go for a little walk. Let's go for a little walk and show you what's happening in the garden. So directly out the front of the glass house is potatoes, onions, garlic, and I'm going to put some leeks. I've got some leeks in another garden I'm going to put in here because none of the wildlife, this is not a fence bed, it's just open, and the wildlife don't really like the onion. It's safe to put out here, so you can see there it's coming along. The potatoes are starting to pop up and grow, and I do need to just mulch that a little bit more just to keep the moisture in, because it's quite dry, especially lately we've had a lot of windy days, so I really need to dry it out a little bit. We recently got rabbits, and I've been putting all their bedding into this raised bed here. There's the leeks I've got to transfer over. We've been putting all the rabbit bedding and manure into this, what will be our squashes and zucchinis, and possibly some pumpkins. And then this bed here is pretty empty, but it's waiting on all those plants maturing in the glass house to be able to put them out here. And I'm needing to put a little structure over this to get the mesh up off what is cabbages and cauliflower. And there's also cabbages, cauliflower, what was the other thing? Red and white. See over there? So they're at the point where they need to be propped up, and I have a pretty good success that way, keeping the bugs off them, because otherwise the bugs just absolutely wipe out all the leaves and they never get to flowering. Belt here is more potatoes. I went a bit crazy with potatoes and just put them everywhere because you can't have enough potatoes. We love eating potatoes. These are the little flower seedlings coming up pretty strong, which I'm excited about. Oh, it has the light in here, so much nicer. Okay, so this is the greenhouse tunnel, I call it, because it's got this green shade mesh, which the greens really love it. Because it's more of a mild heat instead of a blaring hot heat from the sun, because it's direct sun all day. So, and what I normally do is I get my little boys to help me, but we sow the seeds in rows. I build up these mounds just for drainage, and then I can have a little walkway when the plants get more established. So that's just a way of me spacing them out. But what we do is we just sort of roughly sow them, and then I will come through and pick out the smaller ones in between and move them into any spots where the seeds didn't come up. You can see these red beetroots are a bit spread out, and so I'll just come through and thin these out, put them in the gaps of the other ones. So that's just really easy, and that's how I do it. So yeah, you just run a line with like a straight edge, like just a pole or like a bit of wood or whatever, and make it nice and straight, and then sow the seeds on top, sprinkle a little bit of soil on top of that, and then they come through really thick and beautiful. So we've got red beetroots, bull's blood beetroots, which are even redder than red beetroots. This is a baby curly leaf kale. I say it's baby, it's only because it's small. It does grow big. Oh, sorry. Then this is yellow beetroots. More yellow beetroots, though I can't tell if they're mangel wurzels or beetroots because I know I sowed one of each here, so they could be either. They look the same. I'd say this might be mangel wurzels because it's a little bit whiter than the yellow beetroot bottoms. And then we've got spring onions, and again I will just, once these get quite big, I'll just pull them up and move them into the gaps so that they have a chance to grow bigger. And yeah, they're really nice, they're growing really nice. I use spring onions a lot, and like I've shown in a few other videos, you just cut the bottoms off, put them in a glass of water on the windowsill, and they'll sprout again. It's just a gift that keeps on giving because you never have to really buy them if you grow them from seed, or these ones were seed starts. You can grow them for a really long time. This one here is celery, 2 rows of celery there that we will put a little bit of plumbing pipe, like the white plumbing pipe, just to make them grow taller. Swedes, these are also called rutabagas, and they're coming along nicely. I usually just prune off the larger leaves so that the plant puts the energy back into the root. And I really like to use them like in place of a potato. You can make, hash browns with them, or you can boil them up and mash them. You can, growing up, my mum always put them through soups. But you could use them in place of a potato, and they're really nice and they've got really good flavour. So I usually do a fair few of those. But these again were seed starts, so that's quite expensive. That's why I've only got 4 rows here, because they were seed starts. So once the glass house is up and running, all the seed starts that I buy will then come out of the glass house, and we will make it much more affordable for us. You don't need a glass house. Like I said, you can do it in your windowsill in your house. But for the scale that I want to go with all these vegetables, because this is not only feeding us, but it's feeding our animals, we want to be able to do our own seed starts. So you got your celery again, another 2 rows. These ones are broad beans. I've never actually grown broad beans before, but I hear that they do quite well and they're fairly prolific, so giving those a go. I don't really like broad beans to eat, but I'm experimenting with those because often when you grow them at home, they taste completely different to what you buy in the store. So giving those a go. Then we've got more Swedes, and you can, I've got a headache. You can see here how big the leaves are. It just absolutely takes over. And just to tell the plant to put its energy back into the roots, I will just prune off the larger leaves, and they'll go to the pigs or the rabbits because they really enjoy them. So I'll go through and prune the larger leaves off the Swedes. These ones here are Brussels sprouts. They're coming along a little bit slow, but we got plenty of Brussels sprouts last year, so I have a feeling they'll pop up. All this back row here, that's all radishes. I like to pickle my radishes, or you can roast them or slice them through salads. They're a little bit peppery. The rabbits also like them. the pigs like them, so they grow super fast. Like, they grow like nothing else. They go really fast, so I don't mind planting them. So there is actually quite a few radishes in here. Down here, these tiny little seedlings, they're called Warrigal Greens. That's a native spinach, native Australian spinach, and they taste really buttery, and they're very good cooked. I usually make spinach and ricotta rolls, pastries out of them because they taste really delicious cooked. So they're popping up. And like I said, there is some gappy rows here that I will pull out and plant, and spread them out. See, there's like 2 rows there that have nothing has popped up, but there's really thick beetroots there. So I'll just spread them out, they'll be fine. Lots of carrots popping up there. I did a fair few different colours. So these are purple, that row's purple. I'm just checking down here, just check the root to see what colour they are. That one's white. So I've got a row of purple, a row of white. What are you doing, Chili? Chili? Chill. What you doing? And that looks like another row of white carrots, and then I've got 2 rows of orange down the end there. This row here is rocket, which is a lettuce. Oh, it's really peppery as well. We like to eat rocket a fair bit, so it's quite a thick row. But I can't remember the last time I bought lettuce. I don't need to buy lettuce. You can eat the beetroot leaves. You can eat the rocket leaves. You can eat the kale leaves. Here I've got a lot of silver beet. We don't buy lettuce. Oof, that hurts, sorry. I've got a few lettuces just in the walkway here popping up. Yeah, kale, there's plenty of things. You just pick them as baby greens you would buy them in the store as, but they're just little tiny miniature plants that you pick the larger leaves off, and it's good. It tastes good. It's all good. This one here is red. What do you call it? Red silver beet, which is like a really large spinach. You can also use the stalk. Kales. What else? That's really good. These are, I'll just pick one, eh? These are a white radish. So we've got, I'll show you. We've got a white radish, which is white on the outside and the inside. We have red radishes, little beautiful red radishes. And I think these are called, what are these ones called? I think they're either called French, they're the long ones, French radishes or breakfast radishes they're sometimes called. So 3 little cute little radishes, and yeah, you can put them through salads and roast them up. I left this originally because all my mint pops up there. When you plant mint, you really generally can't get rid of it. So I left that little gap there for all the mint that pops up. It's really quite a nice mint actually. But then it didn't come up so fast, so I planted some more carrots there. And that's about it for the greenhouse. And every now and then I'll come through, and these rows are really easy to weed. Oh, I keep getting up too fast and it's giving me a head spin. These rows are really easy to weed. You can get like a little hoe and go in between them and get all the weeds away, or I just like to come through and hand pick them out and take them into the rabbits. So they've got some greens. I don't really do that very much because I like to just heavily mulch so that I don't have to weed so much, because I really don't like weeding. But if I take it as, you know, I'm going to feed the rabbits. It's really not so much of a job, you know, if I team it up with another animal, I'm going to feed the rabbits, I've got to get them some greens. I just come in here and pick a few weeds, and if I do that often enough, it really looks after itself. So this is possibly my favourite garden at the moment, only because it's so full. All right, we might just take these to the rabbits, and I'll... Okay, chill. Stay. Good job. Stay. Stay. Okay, so in this stable, we have rabbits everywhere. This is the first batch of rabbits that we had. And there's 4 in there. This is the daddy. Ooh, Chili, go. Go. Chili, go. Good girl. Stay. Ah, stay. Stay. And then we've got 4 more down the bottom. Hiding. We'll give them some greens too. Come here, Brucey. This is Bruce. I'll bring him out in the sunshine so you can see him. Chili, come on, this way. This is Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Bruce, we got from an animal shelter, the pound. Chili, out, please. Good girl. Stay. No. Stay. Good girl, stay. And he lives in the shed. Stay. To catch the mice and the rats. Get out, Chili, out. Obviously, he's just a kitten at the moment, but I really want him to be a shed cat. So Chili, out, come on. So he is staying in our shed, and he is not allowed to come over to the house, and he's not allowed outside. So he just stays in the shed. Similar to a house cat, he just stays in the shed. And I don't want him outside because we've had issues in the past with, stay there. We've had issues in the past with cats taking birds, taking like sugar glider possums and things like that. So we really don't want that. So he is to stay in the shed. And so to do that, we've had quite a large crate in the stable. And we've had him in there for a few weeks, just getting properly toilet trained and getting used to that spot so that he knows that's his spot. Stay here, good boy. And now at night time we've started to let him out. So we shut all the doors in the shed and we let him out, and he's free to roam wherever he likes. It's quite a large shed, so he can go wherever he likes. But yeah, what I really don't want is him going outside. So he's not allowed out if the shed is open. He has to stay in his crate, which we're all getting used to. But yeah, we just want him to stay in the shed at night time. Eventually, I hope that he will just stay in the shed by himself. But if that's not the case, we'll just get used to putting him back in the crate, closing him up, then closing the shed and letting him back out again. Bruce really doesn't like the dog either. Come here, Bruce. Bruce. And getting used to his name when he's called. It's Bruce. Oh, get out, Chili. So that he doesn't run away, because I did worry that he would run away when we first got him. Chili, leave him alone. Chili, no. I did worry that he would run away when we first got him, and so I made sure we keep the cage in the same spot in the shed. Chili, come. We keep his crate in the same spot in the shed. It's where his bed is. It's where he gets fed. He gets fed night and morning. Usually around the same time, just so he knows that that's his spot, that's his safe place, and that's where he'll get fed, that's where his water is, and he knows he can go back there. So that when the shed is open, he will hopefully stay in here, but if he doesn't, like I said, we'll have to lock him up. Come on, Bruce. Oh, he's scary. Oh, he's scary. I reckon the rats would probably be bigger than him at the moment, so he's not really catching rats at the moment, but I feel like the smell of him would probably deter them. But we had a serious problem with rats. Oh my goodness. The whole floor of the shed was covered in rat poo. It was disgusting. So it's definitely helping, I think, because we've cleaned it out and there's not too much evidence back. and this is where the new veggie garden is going. So this large bed here I predict will be ready by springtime. So I've just got to add a little bit more compost onto there. I've got to add a little bit more compost onto there and stay and work on my edges a little bit. The pigs are in down the back, which we'll go and have a look. Stay. This one here is where the piglets that we grow for meat are living in. There's none in there at the moment. They're only quite young. They're in the farrowing pen still, the birthing pen. So this plot here, it's quite large. It spans the whole distance of this paddock. So this one here will be ready for springtime, I think. Not sure if this one will, but either we will use it or we will heavily mulch it and keep it. And my plan is, I'm going to say this to you guys, and sort of means that I have to give it a go, but I don't know how good of a plan it is. The plan is to have these pigs that are very well trained to hot tape. I have no issue with them in the hot tape, this electrified 2-strand of white tape you can see there, 1, 2. They're very obedient of it. Good with it. It's only if they push they've got like plastic feed tubs. Sometimes they'll push the plastic feed tub up onto the fence and be able to walk out, but that's very rare that that happens. The plan is to, because I have a lot of issues with the grass growing into my beds, that's my number one issue, and to, with this hot tape, create like a large walkway around the whole distance of the bed, the whole way around. I'll make quite a large walkway. If I can get them to stay in and not completely annihilate all of my veggie gardens, that will help me a lot, because it means I won't have to weed the edges of the garden bed. And if you haven't already and you want to garden, go and check out Charles Dowding, because his method of gardening is what this is based off. Charles Dowding has an enormous big open plot of garden space, and so he's only weeding the outside edge of that garden space, and that's what we plan to do here. An enormous big veggie garden space that will have different plots of vegetables in it, sort of like a big patchwork. But then our pigs are going to run around the edge of the garden space, and I can put mulch down to slow down the weeds, and I've done that a fair bit. I'll show you this garden over here and it'll be easier to explain. But I hope that will work. They don't have to stay in there all the time. I usually like to run our pigs in the bush. We have 40 acres of bush and 40 acres of cleared. I usually like to run our pigs in the bush because that's where they're the happiest. It's shaded, the soil is really cool, there's lots of roots and bugs that they can dig up and eat. That's usually how I like to run the pigs, so they won't have to stay in that perimeter lane for long term. It will just be to maybe like, a week to just help me dig up those roots of the stubborn, it's called kike, that we have, kikuyu grass, that likes to leach into our veggie garden beds. So this one here is a really good example. I've put a heavy mulch pathway, like I dug a trench and then put heavy mulch down to try and stop the grass leaching into the bed, because as you can see here, the grass just absolutely takes over the whole bed, and I can't actually harvest the vegetables because I can't find them. The grass just absolutely takes over. It also doesn't help with moisture. The plants, the vegetables will go moldy if there's too much moisture, so I really need to get on top of that. It's my number one issue. So what I plan to do is create like a large buffer zone where a pig can turn around. Obviously I don't want them to get stuck. Create like a large buffer zone all the way around the veggie garden bed so that the pig can go in there, turn up all the roots, and I won't have to do it. I won't have to weed my veggie garden beds, which is like a gardener's dream, right? But I'm saying that to you guys now. It could completely go wrong, and it's a very big risk, but it's actually going to be cheaper to do that than to pay for all this mulch and my time and my labour into weeding the beds, it's going to be a lot cheaper to just run some electric tape around to put the pigs in there. So I'll keep you updated on that. But that whole paddock will probably one day be a veggie garden and an orchard. So that's very exciting that we are starting on that now, because like I said, I don't have enough room to grow large plots of vegetables, and I want to be able to store them over the winter. The winter is where we're really lacking at the moment, because we can't grow what we want to grow in the winter time, you know, tomatoes and things like that. So we have to preserve them and store them over the winter time, but I don't have the space to do enough. So that paddock means we'll be able to do larger plots of all the vegetables, and I'll be able to preserve them. The only other space here is, this is right outside our door, and this was all ornamental gardens last year. This year I've really only got a few ornamental plants, but this will be herbs. And if I had it my way, I would put garden beds everywhere, like everywhere. But out the front here, I've got a heap of lettuce, and I have a heap of herbs. And I'm a big believer in, if you're going to tend to the garden anyway, it might as well be making you food. So if I'm going to have an ornamental garden, I'm going to add in herbs and vegetables in there that look pretty, so that when I'm tending to the garden, my labour isn't just going into making the place look pretty, but it's also feeding my family, flavouring our dishes. It's only just starting to warm up now, and I'm excited to show you the veggie gardens. Will be just amazing. So yeah, I look forward to sharing that with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, and share this wherever you can, because we want to encourage as many people as possible to grow their own food. Thanks guys, see you soon.